Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's talk. We're up to talk 7 in my Columbo fan walk and talk, and I thought today we would talk about the Judge Hamilton episode, and that was the only episode he was in. But they really did have a lot of, I guess you call them A-listers, but some great actors be the villains on those. I think it must have been a feather in their cap to be on Columbo, because I just saw an old clip of Peter Falk on Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show, and he was stating some polls that Peter Falk was the most popular TV personality in the country, almost among all age groups, from teenager and above. And yeah, that seems to be my recollection. I was fairly young when I remember my parents watching in the basement. They were glued to the tube with Columbo, and I vaguely remember watching an episode or two and kind of enjoying it myself. But anyways, the episode I want to talk about is the Judge Hamilton episode, where he plays a psychologist. And this is another episode where it's kind of an accidental killing. I think his client, his voluptuous client, he had total control over, was at her beach house with her husband, and George Hamilton, or the character, the doctor, drove down there to kind of tell her husband about his love. He's in love with his wife, and if I remember correctly, this is an episode we haven't watched as much as the others, but we watched it several times, and I love it. But it's quite a entertaining plot. So I think, if I remember correctly, her husband and the doctor get in a scuffle, and pushing and shoving or something, and I think it was the wife comes to the rescue of her lover with a poker from the fireplace, and hits the husband over the head, if I remember correctly. But he accidentally dies, right? That's right, the guy accidentally dies. And they quickly have to come up with a story that sounds plausible. And I can't remember, I don't think the story involved the doctor, but the story is that she would claim that some intruders came into the house, pulled up the driveway, and came into the house and overpowered the husband and killed him, and the motive was robbery, right? So she's this weak link, and she's on the verge of cracking anyways, and she's actually quite a good actress, plays the part very, very well, very well. But so they come up with this elaborate story that Columbo begins to pick apart. Hold it, let's see. How did you not notice these? Did you see these headlights coming down the driveway? He said, no, they must have parked this long driveway, right? They claim to have car problems. And Columbo says, why would they drive down the driveway and claim to have car problems? And so they quickly changed their story or something. They must have parked outside, blah, blah, blah. I mean, down the street and come to the door and claimed that they wanted to use the telephone and they are having car problems. So Columbo starts slowly picking this apart. But the doctor, Judge Hamilton, the heartthrob of the 70s, begins to realize that his lover, this voluptuous woman, is weak and she's gonna fall apart, and it's gonna get him in trouble. Yeah, so he must. Let's see, I can't remember. Oh, and anyway, so he decides he has to kill her and hypnotizes her and tells her, gives her a secret signal that when he calls from his house at a dinner party, he gives her the signal to go think she's diving off her balcony into the swimming pool, and she's hot with her. And so this woman takes the phone call, and the signal throws her into a trance, and she goes off and commits suicide off her balcony, right? And Columbo is trying to figure out what would have. And the phone was left off the hook. And that night, he happened to be at Judge Hamilton's house. They're having a party there, and he remembers about that time that George Hamilton was making a phone call. And so, anyways, he begins to piece the thing together. But some good piece of police work. A great episode. And but anyways, when he solves the crime, as it turns out, when the husband was killed, the first murder, a blind guy was walking in the neighborhood with his blind seeing dog, and remembers that a car came racing out of the driveway and broke off. He ran into the the post at the end of the driveway, right? But he was blind, so he couldn't see. But the blind and George Hamilton saw that there was a blind man there. But Columbo devises this ploy to uncover it. He says the blind man is a twin, and the twin is not blind. So he has him come into the house and kind of act like the blind man, and say that he saw the guy driving away, and the doctor, being the sharp doctor that he is, says that man is blind, because he saw the seeing eye dog. He saw him, what he thought was him. He saw the twin, right? And then finally, it comes out that Columbo has this ploy and he says that will never stand up in court, because that man was not there. You lied to me, blah blah blah. And Columbo said, we have an eyewitness. And this man is not the eyewitness because he's blind, or his brother's blind. The eyewitness is you, George Hamilton. You admitted to us, all but admitted, that you saw a blind man with a seeing eye dog at the end of the drive. And it's a great scene. And he nails him. Again, setting this ploy, the fake blind man, kind of lying to get basically to get George Hamilton to confess that he knows that the man that was walking out on the day of the murder was blind, which is true. And the man in the house was not blind, which is true. But the eyewitness happened to be George Hamilton. So it's a great episode. A fun one. Fun one. But unfortunately, that was the only episode. Let's see, 10 minutes into this. Unfortunately, this is the only episode that George Hamilton was in. But I remember him being quite the heartthrob, and I can't remember what I remember him from. What was he? He's not the Brolin that was on Marcus Welby, MD. He reminds me of him, but how do we know George Hamilton? He must have been in all the pictures, but I can't remember that he was like the star of a series or anything, but maybe. But anyways, George Hamilton, a great villain. That was a great episode with a great ending. Yeah, so that's my synopsis of the George Hamilton episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Oh, and if you haven't seen it, and even if you've seen it before or saw it when you were a kid, man, these things, we've seen them 40 times and we still enjoy coming back to them. There's just so much enjoyment from the time period. It brings back memories for me, and for my daughter. She loves anything that's from the 70s, so she enjoys it as well. So enjoy, and I will sign off. Thank you for enjoying today, or for listening to today's talk.